Well, we're excited to get after week number 2. Opponent number 2, St. Joe, is a very good team. Yeah, we're just excited to show that we can improve from week 1 to week 2. So we're looking forward to it.
Gary, on that note, what are some of those first game things you got to shake off here?
Well, I think clearing, under the 10-man, it's hard to replicate, the game time pressure of a 10-man ride. And so we got through the first one, and I thought we did an okay job, not a great job. And I think we've really worked on it this week, and we should be prepared, and hopefully we'll all see some improvement and some more success and possess the ball a little bit more.
How tough is it against the 10-man when you don't run it yourself?
It's just different because not a lot of teams typically run it, and now we got the opening 2 teams we're playing against really make a living on it. So this is what they take pride in. So it just means for the last couple of weeks we've been really focused on it, and we got to show that we can grow as players, and hopefully we'll see that.
How does their 10-man compare to Boston's?
You know what? With Boston, we were expecting more of a non-pressure 10-man ride, and I think what we weren't ready for was a pressure where they jumped on the goalie and the low defenseman and really came after us right away, and we weren't expecting that. So that was what was unique about what they've done in the past with Boston, and now with St. Joe's, they typically do run a pressure 10-man ride. So it should be good experience for what we're up against this week.
For the short stick defensive middies, I know you said that was an area that you guys wanted to get better at. What did you see from them in the first game, and especially guys like Dante Bowe and Jake Spallini? What did you see from them?
Yeah, I thought we played really good defense. We really limited their opportunities, and they got a couple pick plays early, but we can correct that easy enough. And I don't think that was an individual error that caused those goals. It was more of a communication error and technique error. So we'll clean that up. I think our short sticks played really well, applied a lot of pressure, and look for them to continue to improve as the year goes on.
Coach, another tough defense at St. Joe's. What has been your message to the attack so far this week to prepare them for Saturday?
Yeah, just about focus on our execution. Coach March does a great job putting in a game plan and being prepared to outmaneuver the defense, and as long as we can execute, we'll have success. So we're just telling them to do their job, and hopefully we shoot a little bit better. A chance to practice in the dome for the first time before a game this year, so we're excited about that. So we've been in there all week and gotten used to it a little bit, a little different than our first game.
Coach, St. Joe's game number 1 obviously canceled, but across the lacrosse landscape, that wasn't that was a norm.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on maybe moving the season up a little bit and kind of overall the weather in lacrosse right now in the early parts?
Oh, as a staff, we sit around and talk about it all the time. All the topics that come up, we kind of have a war room and we sit around and talk all day. And we would love to see the start date pushed back a little bit. We're the ones where it doesn't matter because we have a dome and indoors, but league-wide. But we'd also like to see teams have to play midweek games and maybe increase the minimum number of games from 10 to 13. So we've talked about a lot of different ideas, but I think lacrosse, used to be, much like at the D3, D2 level, they start later, but they play more games during the week, whereas in D1, teams have gotten used to being like a football team and having a full week to prepare. And I know for me, I'm trying to provide a great experience for the athlete, and I think that's playing more games. So I'm all for playing more games, starting a bit later, and mandating some midweek games. So.
Did you see Kark's idea?
I didn't.
he wanted to do like 4 bubbles every weekend throughout February.
You know what? We've talked about that as well. Since we do have the dome, we've talked about, creating a first 4 scenario here at Syracuse. The problem we have is locking down the dome with basketball. So it's a great idea. Would love to do it. It's just a matter of, can we schedule that with the ACC to get that done?
Coach, if you take back as a player, how hard is it to play in colder conditions?
You know what? The thing is, both teams play in the same conditions on game day. So that's it's tougher to play in colder conditions. You make more mistakes typically, but it's not like one team has an advantage over another one. So, when we head to Boston later this month, we'll make sure we get outside and play in the cold a little bit, try and acclimate a little bit. But, I think our indoor facilities are awesome, and it allows us to prep and prepare. It's much easier to focus on learning when you're warm and comfortable, as opposed to just focusing on trying to stay warm. So, so that's why we love our indoor facilities.
What's the ideal? I know you talked about like you want maybe everyone to play more games. Like, is there an ideal number of games you think for teams? I think Notre Dame has like 11, and I think you have 15. Like, is there an ideal minimum you want in terms of that?
Well, I think just our staff around the table think it's probably 13 would be a good number, and that's part of the issue with our selection process. We use the RPI system that is really meant for having more contests than 11 or 12 or 13. It does better when you get up over 20, and it shows more consistency, and I think it would be easier to do. But we're looking at new selection processes for NCAA lacrosse, so they're experimenting with a couple ideas, and maybe that'll change down the road.
Is it tough to implement these changes? Like, is it tough to implement them instantly, or is that something like you're trying to get?
I don't think we'd ever do it instantly. I think it's a process. You got to understand what the selection process is and what type of schedule works for that selection process, and that's something that we look at our tough schedule this year. It's that tough for a reason, because we use the RPI system, and we want to make sure that most of the teams we play are in the top half of the RPI.
3 more questions.
Coach, going back to what you saw in game one of the biggest losses heading into the season was not having Owen. How did you like how this team filled in some of that offensive output that he had last year?
I thought, 13 goals, 7 different scorers. I thought that was exactly what we needed, and I think we shot a little better. We put more goals up, obviously, and I think, it's the way sports work. People move on, new guys get opportunities. You're going to see new stars develop. Peyton Anderson did a great job playing down there. You'll see some Michael Leo and that sort of thing, and you're going to see guys step up and rise to the occasion.
Gary, what did Bo Khan show you in spring up to this point in camp to get on that second line midfield?
Oh, he was just, just like you watched him play, he kind of did a little bit of everything. He can play defense, he can play on a wing on a face-off, he can clear the ball, he can play offense, he's two-handed, left, right. So he kind of does it all, and he's very athletic. So he earned his way up to that second line, and I think he showed why. He played a very solid game, didn't make any mistakes, and buried a goal for us. So we're expecting some good things out of Bo Khan.
Coach, last year, seeing the guys down the road hoist that trophy, winning the national championship, does that give you any billboard material or any motivation for your team?
Sorry, what was that?
With Cornell winning the national championship last year, is that,
I was actually very happy for Cornell. I have a lot of friends that are Cornell alums, and if it wasn't going to be us, I was fine with Cornell winning it. They've had a long drought. It's been a long time. I have some friends that were on the last team that won at Cornell back in the 70s, and I called them and said congratulations right away after, and they've had a lot of tough goes at it. From when I played, they went to the national championship twice, and lost in the final, once to us, once to Hopkins, and for them to get over the hump was great for the program and great for upstate New York, I thought too. Shows that Cornell is a power in the Ivy League.